Yo, what up guys? Welcome back. Different style of video today. I'm going to be covering periodization. So periodization is often overlooked by beginners and intermediates, even advanced athletes as well, because they will have a coach or a trainer doing their periodization for them. But beginners and intermediates really need to have a big long-term plan and be able to break it down into smaller chunks so you could follow, and you're basically following a guide to achieve your goals and go where you're trying to go. That's basically all periodization is in a nutshell. You need to periodize everything. That's including your training. If you're a drug using athlete, you need to plan and periodize your drug use accordingly, and your diet, and pretty much everything in your life. So today we're going to be covering training periodization only, and this is just a start of the series, so I figure this is a good place to start and have a general viewpoint of what you need to think of when you're trying to periodize. So the idea is expectation versus reality. It might not be expectation, but what I mean by that is it's basically the trade-offs you have to make. So with expectation, you have pretty much everything, you're getting better at everything all the time, and that's just not possible. Reality is we have to choose different ways to trade off different training principles and decide which one's better, which one's worse, how to time it. So basically what this is going over is the three different energy systems. We have A as aerobic, B as glycolytic, and C as the creatine phosphate or the ATP system. I'll just refer to it as ATP from here on. And basically on your expectation, or what we all wish could happen side, we have this is all very like oversimplified, super generalized chart and everything, because we don't know who we're talking about or what kind of athlete. But to start off, you have this basic first two charts here. So obviously A, B, and C is just going up. That's what we wish could happen. You just get better at all three energy systems, and you're just better. The line would represent a day where you're trying to do some sort of athletic activity or look good. You're just better at everything. That's just not possible. That's only really possible for extreme beginners. Even like after like 2 months of training, you just can't really do that anymore. You have to periodize. So more realistic view would be having the three different energy systems peaking at different rates, and these different lines would represent different days. So you'd have 3 different days to choose from. Basically, let's just go, say day 1, you have your aerobic system is doing the best it can. You would choose day 1 for an event that's going to be long distance and use your aerobic system, obviously. Then a little more complex, you have like these 2 days a little closer. Depending on what you're trying to do, like your glycolytic system is going to be capped out on the second day, the second choice. And your ATP system is not going to be capped out. It's not going to be max, but it's going to be close because there's a bleed over. And that would be for more of like an athletic event like basketball, volleyball, even football. Pretty much a lot of sporting events would represent something similar to that. And then the third option, or another day further down your periodization timeline, would be when your ATP system's maxed out. So super specialized stuff like power training, or powerlifting rather, and something that's just super explosive, and you would have a specific day for that. So that's more of like a actual thing that would have to happen, and you know these 3 different days, the actual skill level of your different energy systems are going to be at different places, so you have to basically make a decision. And further down, I have a more specialized approach here, or view, and I put an MMA athlete as an example. So obviously on the expectation side, this is basically just this chart put in like a more detailed graph, and obviously what we wish could happen is the line going up is your skill level starting out on the energy system, and this would just be time going this way. So obviously we wish we could just start off shitty on everything and just train it all, and then let's say you have an event and you just train for that day, everything gets better. Just not gonna happen. That's just not possible. So I'm using an MMA athlete as an example. Super simplified, super general, but just to get an idea of the kind of trade-offs you're trying to think of when you're periodizing. So you have an MMA athlete, obviously this is the same style as this. Going up is going to be your starting skill level of that energy system, and this is just time. Day of the event is that day right here. So same energy system, same things. We have aerobic, your MMA athlete, general, depends on where you're starting, but we're just working with like a general MMA athlete that just trains, just to generalize it all. Their aerobic system's going to be starting off very, very well, or it should be at least, and that you would train, we'll say like 12 weeks out from the day of the fight. You're just going to be training in your aerobic system, let's say 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out. You stop specializing in your aerobic system and you're going to have to start specializing more. So that's when we would add in glycolytic training to work obviously your glycolytic energy system. So you're going to start doing more explosive stuff, and obviously that's going to start going up, and there's going to be a bleed over from your ATP system because those two training types are very similar. So you're going to stop working on your aerobic, not completely obviously, but the skill of your aerobic system takes longer to drop. So that's the trick of the periodization. We're trying to maximize certain things depending on your fight style, how many rounds it is, the opposite fighter, many variables. So super generalized, we're just gonna have if you're just trying to cookie cutter an MMA athlete, you basically want them to fall on this day. So your aerobic system is working at about 85% capacity, as good as it could be. Your glycolytic system, we stop specializing it towards the fight because we really want to max out our ATP system. So as you can see, ATP system is working at about 95%. Your glycolytic system is working at about, let's just say 85%, and that's the three energy systems. Basically, your glycolytic system starts to fall just when it starts to fall, like a couple weeks in, and just when your ATP system peaks, and your aerobic system has just been slowly falling, but you still have a very good aerobic capacity. That's when we have the day of the fight. So that would be perfect. You have all those coming in at different percentages. Nothing's at 100%, and that day would shift depending on the athlete and starting points, a whole bunch of variables. But just in general, if you have a cookie cutter MMA fighter or any other athlete, but we're just using MMA as this example, you're gonna have to choose which system is going to drop, and you want to plan it certain weeks out. So hopefully that makes sense. I just had a super generalized, super oversimplified, but I'm going to do a periodization whole series. So this is the kind of ideology behind the periodization. Even before basics of periodization, I want people to have a viewpoint of it, if that makes sense. So that's the start of the series. If you are interested, I'm going to drop some more videos on periodization, obviously, to kind of facilitate what I'm going over. And if that interests you, you could subscribe. I would really appreciate that a lot. Also do a lot of AAS talk if that interests you at all. And I'm just posting a lot of cycle updates and things like that. So if y'all like what you see, subscribe. And if you made it this far in the video, I thank you a lot for watching, y'all. Take care.